This spring, we had an interesting visitor to our flower garden. A little broad-leafed plant took up residence and began to grow. And we weren't quite sure. Was this a weed or was this some kind of a wild flower? Being the uncertain gardeners that we are, we decided to wait. So it grew and it grew until finally it was 5 feet tall. And then it began to flower. And we still kept asking, is this a weed? Today, I'd like to talk about weeds and wheat as a metaphor for life. Firstly, wheat. This is everything that feeds us, from the plant variety that converts to bread, the basic staple in our food basket, to all the other things in life that feed and nourish us. Our loving relationships, meaningful work, a purpose and a direction in life. That's the wheat. And then there are the weeds, the plant variety that we find in our garden, and the more complicated kind of human weeds. We find it in our workplace, in our church community, in our neighborhood, in our society. These are the things, the people, the situations that choke us, that prevent us from doing a good job and from living joyously. These are the inequalities that we are born into that don't seem to give us a chance. These are the situations where evil reigns and justice is thwarted. Weeds, weeds, weeds. How do we get rid of these darn weeds so the wheat can grow as it should? That's what I'd like to talk about. Hi there. My name is Ann Hogle. Welcome to this channel of weekly reflections about what it means to be spiritual beings having a physical experience, wherein I usually relate a Bible reading to what's happening in the world today. So let us begin. In today's scripture passage, Jesus recounts the parable of the wheat and the weeds. The land is well tilled, the wheat seeds are sown, and the plants begin to grow. And then, seemingly in the middle of the night, the weeds sprout up, competing for the precious nutrients in the soil that the wheat plants need. How did those weeds get there? And how is the farmer going to get rid of them? Of course, Jesus later explains that we are not really talking about plants here, but rather the disappointing fact that despite our best efforts and our good intentions, life sometimes goes awry. People get in the way of our plans, undermining us, slowing us down, and abusing us. Trusted friends disappoint us, and we ourselves fall into temptations. In the midst of all the good things in life, there are a lot of bad things too, a lot of weeds. And our first reaction is to yank those weeds right out of the ground immediately. But Jesus warns that if we do that, well, we risk pulling out the wheat too. Wait, he says, till harvest time. Well, that may be wise in some agricultural contexts, but what good can come from living with the weeds in our human lives? When my coworker is driving me crazy, my first reaction is to try to get rid of them. When I feel misunderstood or uncared for by my partner, I start considering divorce. When my carefully laid plans for retirement are destroyed by a failing economy, I feel like giving up. When I struggle with the temptations of addiction, I feel shame. What on earth can be the value of all these struggles that sneak up upon us in the middle of the night? In today's parable, Jesus seems to be saying that there is indeed some good that comes from the living with these struggles, in the persevering, although life may not seem worthwhile, and in the sticking with the weeds, in the expectation that we may grow more fully into the wheat that we were meant to be. Well then, is it not true that character is forged in the midst of adversity? That we do not learn to ride a bicycle without falling off multiple times? And that there is something very satisfying in finding compassion and common ground with the people we have struggled with the most. To grow spiritually, we must go through the times of trial. To live life deeply and authentically, we must taste failure and learn perseverance. Our own struggles and temptations and failures and tragedies cultivate compassion for the struggles of others. They cure us of the illusion of our ability to achieve perfection, and they foster a healthy humility. And lastly, sometimes the things we thought were weeds turn out to be wheat after all. That mysterious flowering plant that sprung up in our front garden this spring turned out to be wild mullein, a desirable plant that has been cultivated for centuries. A favorite of landscape gardeners, it is also has medicinal qualities that can be used as an antiseptic and an expectorant, good for things like bronchitis and coughs and colds and asthma. All this I learned after we finally decided to pull it out. Maybe Jesus was right. Maybe we should have waited for the harvest. Thank you for listening to today's message. If you are interested in supporting this ministry or in becoming a part of any of the acts of service of our church is involved in, or in attending one of our Zoom church services, you can contact us via the website which is listed below this video. We are currently focusing on helping our seniors navigate the technology so that they can maintain contact with their loved ones. So until we meet again, blessings on the journey.